Jen was going to talk about just an example of a new invasive species that is pretty high priority right now, and we just want people to be aware of. It's something that you could keep an eye out for with your students.
Great, thanks, Mitch. Yeah, so I'm the invasive species biologist for the invasive species team here at Heritage. And so, I look at a lot of the reports that are coming in and keep track of new species that are on the horizon that our partners are working on. And one of the new species that has been creeping it towards New York State for the last few years and officially was declared in New York State just last summer is the spotted lanternfly. And this is a plant hopper, and you can see it's actually quite large. It can get up to an inch long in its adult phase. And it's actually a very beautiful insect and very distinctive, so which makes it good for us in terms of having volunteers looking for it because it's popping up in places that where it's not always predictable. So this particular species, it is actually a big agricultural concern. This goes after some of our favorite beverages. So it goes after grapes, which would be our wine and grape juice and so forth, but also goes after hops and after apples. And so this is, certainly something that the Department of Ag and Markets is encouraging people all across the state to keep an eye out for. And it also can cause some negative impacts for homeowners in some of the areas where it's taken off in Pennsylvania, which is where it was first discovered back in 2014. So this is very new even to the whole United States. In areas that have really heavy populations, these insects can actually cause what they call honeydew, which is essentially their insect secretions from sucking up all the phloem out of the plants and spitting it back out. These can come raining down on like your patio and your outdoor living space and make it very uncomfortable, especially because mold likes to grow on these sugary substrates. So people in the Pennsylvania area that have really high infestations are having a lot of issues with outdoor living space and quality of their outdoor life in particular. But so these insects are originally from Asia, and they were accidentally imported here to the United States. One thing that makes them really easy to import or move around once they get here is that their eggs are laid on just about any kind of flat surface. They have some preferences for, sometimes rusty metal, sometimes tree bark. And you can see in the picture where it's kind of in the middle, where there's kind of a white blob behind one of the insects. That is that insect laying an egg, and it turns kind of grayish over next couple months. And so those eggs, since they can be laid on just about any surface, travel easily. And so you can imagine if they get laid on, say, like an RV camper or something like that, and then you go camping up in the Adirondacks, these eggs can hatch, and then those little nymphs can radiate out. And even though we're really concerned about them for agricultural purposes, the insects themselves feed on a very wide variety of host plants. So even if there are no grapes or apples in the area, they have, I think hundreds of host plants that they can feed on. They do have a strong preference for tree of heaven, which is actually an invasive plant species. So that's one way to kind of help monitor for them. But once those eggs hatch, then you can see where those black and white and red speckled insects are in the upper middle photo. Those are the nymph stages of the spotted lanternfly. So they start out really small. Those black and white spotted ones are about the size of a pinhead. And then those emerge probably in the early summer. And then as they molt into each successional next generation or instar, next instar, they get a little bigger because these are insects with incomplete metamorphosis, and their coloration changes so that red and black and white spotted one is older than those black and white spotted ones. And then eventually when they go into the final instar, which is their adult form, then it gets to be that lower left-hand photo with the adult with the reddish, purplish, black spotted wings. And so definitely something to keep an eye out for. Within iMapInvasives, so this is the state database, we do have alerts set up so that whenever spotted lanternfly is entered, the Department of Ag and Markets gets those alerts, and so they know to investigate right away. So you can enter reports for suspected spotted lanternfly. Always be sure to include a good photo if you can. Capture the organism, take a photo of it. They can't hurt humans, so it's fine to touch them. But you can also enter not detected records. So if you go out intentionally searching for this insect, maybe at a parking area where there's a lot of like shipping or traffic through it or something, or at a park at a trailhead, and you don't find it, so you search for half an hour and you can't find any, that not detected data is also very helpful. All right, thank you.